I've got the great pleasure of having with me today Stephen Henry from SwitchMyBusiness, which is now a part of Bionic, which is one of the country's largest intermediaries dealing with selling energy onto business customers. And Stephen was the Chief Operating Officer at his time at SMB and made the decision to bring in RocketPhone. Isn't that right, Stephen?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, good decision as well. Enjoyed working with you guys.
Perfect. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions, Stephen.
Yeah,
if that's
sure.
okay, just for the folks viewing this video. I guess the first question is, given your knowledge of the telecoms industry and given your background, because you spent quite a bit of time working with TalkTalk, which is one of the big telecom systems providers here in the UK. This is an industry that you know really well. So why did you go with RocketPhone and not one of the others? There's a plethora of them kind of out there on the shelf, aren't there? But you chose RocketPhone.
Yeah. So I suppose the full situation was we had an existing telephony solution. It was doing very little for us other than just we were using it to make calls. We had it integrated into Salesforce, and that we had click to call. We had call recordings, but they were disparate from our system. It just felt that we could get more out of telephony, and because it was such a strategic and key part of what we did, we weren't really considering it strategically in terms of our supply. And we made the decision that we needed to make telephony a competitive advantage for us and something that added value rather than just being a core functionality within the business, really. And when I started looking around, I spoke to a couple of guys that I'd worked with at TalkTalk and was asking about who was leading within the sector, what was best functionality, what was available, and we were pointed in your direction. So that's really how we came to work with you. And I think the things that were most interesting for us at the time were really about that additional functionality that RocketPhone offered beyond what I saw being available in the marketplace at that point in time, really.
Yeah, I remember speaking to you guys right at the beginning when we were doing the demos and that sort of stuff, and we'd had some experience of working with intermediaries before. They refer to these businesses as TPIs, don't they? Third-party integrators.
Yeah.
So it's a business that sits in between the end business customer and then the tier one supplier.
Yeah.
And in your case, the tier one supplier is like British Gas, Npower, these sorts of Eon, these sorts of companies.
Yeah. So we have relationships with about 20 of the largest energy suppliers in the UK. So how it all works essentially is business and organisations looking to switch their energy supply, contracts due for renewal. They will typically start to shop around. Now you can either do all that work yourself, which is quite painful, and a lot choose to do that. About 40% of people will pick up the phone or go on the web and search for somebody like SwitchMyBusiness or Bionic, and they will then obtain quotes. Now part of that process generally requires some kind of telephone call. We would normally outbound the client after they'd been on the site to advise them on the quotes they'd had, ask if they had any questions, support them with the transfer of the supply, etc. So outbound calling was huge. Our guys were speaking to probably 40, 50 different businesses a day across the team per person, and making a lot of outbound calls every day and getting a lot of inbound calls as well. So as I say, it was a strategic part of what we do, and working with a lot of different businesses.
Perfect. And one of there was a couple of challenges. I think the first one was that with a lot of telephony vendors, they'll provide you like the telephony system, which is the ability to make and receive phone calls, but they probably didn't think of the business process kind of holistically.
Yeah.
And versus kind of where we come in, which is that we capture the journey from the start right until the finish, and the journey often begins on your website, doesn't it? So they've done a Google search, clicked on a link, they come to your website. And from that very point onwards, I think we sort of step in and we allocate the correct agent, to that particular customer.
Yeah.
We'll try to find them somebody who's local to them, somebody who has the right skill set for their particular business domain.
Yeah.
And so from the very beginning, we're sort of trying to help that relationship sort of carry through the entire organisation.
And that process piece was really important to us. And I think that was just one of the things that set you apart in terms of trying to understand how the business worked and adding value into that as well. So it was very different to working with a telephony provider who was just looking to put in a phone system and probably integrate that into Salesforce for us. it was really around business process and about how we improved the way we worked and using the system to make that more efficient and more effective. And that was one of the things, as I said, that just really stood out with you guys. And we found working with you in that respect, it wasn't just really easy. It was good. It was good fun as well. You added a lot of value in that process, which helped us to make things more streamlined, more effective.
We enjoyed it as well. It was great fun for us. And it's actually nice for us to work with a company that is that has that sort of forward-looking perspective, and they want to improve innovation and find ways of doing things that set them apart from their competitors, through technology, which is great for us. One of the ways that we try to sell RocketPhone, and sometimes it sounds a bit like marketing speak, but we try to give real examples. And we speak about business velocity, which is the speed at which your organization can just get stuff done. And for a sales organization that's trying to convert as many prospects into new energy contracts, for us, can we speed that process up? Is the first question, and then the second question is, can we add more to it? So rather than each rep selling 10 deals a day, can we get them selling 14 or 15? And could we do that by using AI to recognize signs of opportunities and leads that the rep might miss? And so did you see any increase in this thing we call business velocity, which is the speed at which you get things done, but also, are we adding more to each rep's performance?
Yeah. So I think the key thing that we saw in the early stages was that speed of being able to support agents with things like on-call training and post-call training. So the ability to identify what somebody was doing, where it was and wasn't working, and support them with the feedback on that to ensure that they could either stop doing that on further calls or focus on the things they were doing well. And that's the system allowed us to get to the nub of that really quickly. So being able to set key phrases which people just weren't allowed to say, things that we didn't want them to say and things that we did want them to say, and being able to flag those really quickly within the conversations for us was really useful. That also transitioned across into our compliance teams, where we would listen to every sales call. In the past, we were having to go through those lengthy call recordings to ensure that a sale was compliant, ensure that we'd captured the right information. We really speeded that process up as well, in terms of being able to get to the right information quickly, and therefore being able to check and validate each one of the sales without having to listen through or fast forward through a load of call information. So it made us more effective, more efficient in two areas. We increased sales. We saw an improvement in productivity in the sales team and across my management team as well, who were doing the coaching, and then as well within our compliance team became more productive as a result.
Excellent. That's really, really good to know. Would you have any sort of thoughts or advice to offer other companies that might be speaking to us right now?
Yeah, I think, I suppose what we saw as an organisation was one of the process challenged us in a good way to think about our business processes, and you guys as a team added a lot of value into that as well. So in going through the process of just understanding how it needed to be set up, it raised a lot of questions and flagged a lot of things that you were able to support us with to do better than we were before. We found that process really enjoyable to go through as well. It was easy. It didn't make it harder. It just made us more effective and accelerated some of the change and transition we would have gone on to make, I think. But it allowed us to get that done quite quickly and in one go as part of that integration. So really, I think it moved us forward in a big step, rather than being this sort of iterative transition of let's focus on one next thing, the next thing, the next thing. We really moved the organisation on at quite a pace as a result of the integration and the process that we went through.
That's brilliant. I mean, we do. There's a lot of innovation in our platform, and sometimes it's hard to grasp the things that are available. First of all, and then to grasp how can we actually use it inside our business. And it's always great for us to be able to work with customers that are happy to listen to us and happy for us to say, actually, no, we suggest you do this, and kind of challenging the customer. Which you need to have the right kind of customer to be able to do that. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah. Stephen, it's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for being a customer. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure, Muj. No, it's great working with you guys.
I'm I'm looking forward to doing more amazing stuff with you and your organisation.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay. Thanks very much, Muj.
Thank
Good
you.
to talk to you.